Welcome to RMM Help. In this session we include an overview of the RMM control file, which is available normally to administrative and supervisory staff, and we access it from the administration section and control file settings. The control file has the following uses and benefits. Firstly, it enables default values used in RMM to be set up and maintained using simple tick boxes like we've got down here and from drop-down lists. This offers an amount of localized customization by using these tick boxes and controls, and because that reduces clerical effort during data input, it therefore also improves accuracy. The control file is a tab form. It opens automatically in the Work Processing tab, and the first section is for PPM planning, and there are separate video tutorials for setting up and operating PPMs and for work planning. The job docket section contains the name of the bespoke job docket or service record that's been set up for you by RMM support staff, and that will be designed in consultation with you. The third section contains the option for identifying assets during call logging in the help desk and for feedback, and these options include if you have an asset ID on a label, then you can simply enter that and you'd have a tick box, so during help desk operation that's all you'd need to enter. The most typical one is site building and locations to identify assets, and again we're using these tick boxes for those options. We can also suppress entering time on and time off during feedback in a job and only entering the total hours. If you did use that option and you were then entering in feedback in the work detail form and you wanted to put a time on and time off, there's a tick box in that where you can simply untick it, and it then lets you put time on and time off. And it doesn't matter which method you use. When you're recording work with PDAs, your dates and times of work are automatically stamped. You can include regular work as a prompt. You can display generic work and assets at the top of the asset list. You can suppress the prompt to print job docket, which pops up after you save on each of the work tabs. You can set the number of days in the due day working week from 5 to 7, and you can see that they're automatically displayed down here. And finally, you can set a password, click it here, to allow editing of historical work that's already been transferred into history. I'll then click on the Risk Management tab. This enables a risk matrix in the Health and Safety Executive format to be created and maintained, and to calculate risk ratings for assets and planned and requisition work. It's a 5x5 matrix, and it contains 5 likelihoods and 5 consequences, and they're user definable. You can also set a work risk threshold warning to inform users logging requisition work if an asset contains a risk rating equal to or greater than the threshold value, and these are the threshold tick boxes. There are 2 default tabs, the first containing staff working defaults, information with such as the standard working week in hours and minutes, and an optional warning during call logging or library operation if staff are not trained to use or maintain certain models, and I'll show you that list. There's an equipment library section with defaults relating to library operation, such as the default library, default collection method, and the default return method. You can also change the owner label in some of the forms during operation of the library to become borrower, and you can use one of those tick boxes as most appropriate for your method of working. And also you can set the warning period for the overdue warning report within the library operation here as a number of days. We then have some asset register defaults. You can have a register just for EBM equipment, EBME equipment, medical equipment, or one that just contains facilities assets. Alternatively, if you wanted a mixed register, then they can both coexist. You can manually create asset IDs and specify an organization's name to be printed on an asset label. You can set whether to display your assets in ascending asset ID or descending asset ID order, and you can also set the commission date as the date the asset is entered into the register. And finally, you can set a default warranty period as a number of months. The second default tab has some client defaults where you can suppress costs being displayed when a client logs a requisition call and whether or not the organization's job docket should be used. The stock control section has options to print a stock receipt label, whether to allow negative stock, and display the last batch of stock transactions. There are systems defaults relating to the number of rows that you display on all of the data lists, an option to inform help desk users that a job has been issued to a PDA user, and finally a drop-down list, which I'll open up here, and this is to have the default job criteria on the work summary and work detail lists. So you can see we've already got one selected there as WIP excluding completed, but you could select one of those which will become the standard. The control file is constantly being reviewed, and we suggest that you supplement this information with the additional help videos that are available and the What's New option, which always outlines the changes made to RMM, especially in this ever-evolving control file. So this concludes the overview of the RMM control file.